Another tool we can use for footprinting is the Whois tool. Whois will give us information like who's registered the website, where it's been registered, which date this expires, the registration for the domain name expires, addresses, telephone numbers, etc. So we type in Whois and let's look at cnn.com to see what information is available. So we type in cnn.com, and once we let this run, it should give us quite a bit of information, and I'll walk you through that information shortly. Sometimes it may take a little while depending on your internet connection and depending on the proxy settings, etc. Okay, so that scan has been completed. Let's just go back to the beginning so we can actually see what information is available. So if you look here, it tells me the server name, and the server is owned by guli.com. It gives me an IP address. It tells me who the registrar is. So this is with a actual registrar. This is the registrar's website and information. It then tells me something more about the Instra Corporation, which is the company that it registered with. It tells me some domain registry information. If I scroll down, let's try and find some important data here. It tells me some name server information, which you can then use and see what else is available. Let me make this a little bit bigger. Scroll down and you'll see the last update to the database. Scroll further down. Here we go. So it tells us the domain name. It gives us an email address of the domain business, possibly a contact number for any abuse, etc. And tells me that the email address is here, which again looks like a domain company that this email address belongs to. Further down, you will see there's some information about, this is basically the domain name registrar, etc. Further down, you'll note that the expiry date here, which tells us when this domain name expires. So if you're doing a Whois lookup on a domain name, sometimes smaller companies may let domains go and be deregistered. So domain scalpers can come in and buy these domain names up and then charge crazy prices for the actual owner to get them back. So just understand that this information is very valuable in the right hands. So here we see the address of the expiry being in 2018. A domain like cnn.com will definitely not let this domain name expire, but it just goes to show that this information is available. As I scroll down, we see the organization name, we see the address of the cnn.com, where the street address and the city, which is Atlanta, the state being Georgia. It tells us the postcode, phone number, fax numbers, email address that we can use later on for certain exploits. But as you can see, quite a wealth of information that's all listed here. So this is a Whois lookup that gives you a wealth of information. The email addresses that we find in this particular Whois lookup can later on be used for exploits such as malware attacks, where we can launch a malware attack and hopefully infect a computer and then infiltrate a network. But I'm not saying that's what we're going to do. This is just an example to show you exactly the types of things and information that is available for our use. Another tool I want to show you is actually a website called mxtoolbox.com. This site will provide quite a bit of information for free. So if I type in cnn.com in this particular line, we can find quite a bit of information that we most likely had obtained with the command line interface, but this will give us the results in a web browser. As you can see, it's found all the email servers as we had previously obtained, but it gives this information to us in a nice view and easy to access information. I can check if they have any blacklisted websites. So if you have a client and you want to check if their email server has been blacklisted anyway, you can use this tool to quickly check if that website has been blacklisted. As you'll see, there are quite a number of sites that are blacklisted, but our email server will hopefully not be on this particular list. So if you're doing it for a client or for your company, you can check if your site has been blacklisted here. So especially if email servers are blacklisted, we can do something about it, but this site provides that information very, very quickly. This website has quite a few tools that are available to us. So if I scroll back up, you will see that we can do some diagnostics as well. So we've looked at the blacklists as here, but the diagnostics, we can check the SMTP diagnostics. So we can check any mail server diagnostics if we want. I can type in cnn.com and I can test the email server to see what information is available for that particular email server. So it can sometimes take a little while because it is querying the website. But as you can see, there are so many other options here. If I go to the DNS lookup, you will see that I can type in the domain name and it will hopefully give us the DNS information for this particular website. If I scroll down, as we had obtained earlier, it's given us this information as well. So it's found the A records for cnn.com and very, very quickly as well. So if we then go to look up the reverse lookup, I can go to reverse lookup. So if I had an IP address, it could then find us the information about the website associated with it if I had only an IP address. If I clicked on more, notice all the other options we have here. We have blacklist, we have MX functions, we have the A records, SMTP, whois, DNS, so much more information. Again, just put in the SMTP information in this box and you can scan straight from this particular web page. All the tools are displayed nicely on one page. I can then go further down and see the scan. It's got the whois lookup. I can type in cnn.com here and it will give me whois information about cnn.com. Just give it a few moments and it will return with some whois information, which we could then use for exploitation attacks because sometimes email addresses are listed there. So just understand that all this information is available just by using this particular website. What is my IP? We can check HTTP sites. We can do pings, traces. Okay, as I scroll through with the whois lookup, this is the information for cnn.com. And as you can see, it's not given me too much. So let me just go and see what else we can find on this page. Not too much, but let's just see if I go back up to the top and click on the whois lookup again. Let's see if there's any more information obtained. Now it looks about the same. What we can see here under whois, that this cnn.com is owned by this guli.com. I could also do a whois lookup on the guli.com website later on to see if any other information is available. So as you can see, this has given us quite a wealth of information already. If I go again to the more command and let's see what else I can show you on this particular tool. Scroll down and let's look up the scan option here. I can scan for cnn.com and see what open ports there are available. As I scroll down, it will show me the ports. You'll see that the HTTP port is open. Lots of others are filtered or closed. If I go back to the more option, and you will see, let me see which option I can show you as well. There's obviously a DNS option up there. There is the what is my IP we talked about earlier. You can even look for the location of where this particular machine is. The IP address as I talked about earlier. There's a TCP option which will allow me to see the port status. So I can type in cnn.com here. This might take a little while to find the port status, but I've just noticed that there is a small glitch in what I've done. I've put in a web address, cnn.com, but if you look at the blue section just above here, it asks for an IP address and a port address, which means that I need to put it into IP address and port address options. So let me go back to, even if I use cnn.com here, it's not going to work. So let me find the IP address. Let me take this IP address. I think this address won't work either. So let's go back to Kali Linux itself. And if I can get to Kali Linux, I can do the ns lookup again and get the IP address. So let's type in ns lookup and cnn.com. And let's get the IP address. Okay, so let's take this address here with a 25. Let's copy that. Let's go back to a browser and I can paste it in here and do a TCP lookup. I need to add the port. Let's put port 80 and let's see what it finds. Yes, you can see some TCP connect information. So a TCP connection has been made with this particular IP address and that particular port. If I go further down, I can see some other options. Let's go to the, as you can see, password generator, email user list, bulk lookup. There's a lot of options available here. You can extract emails. Let's look at the email user list. As you can see, I can upload a CSV file here. We don't need to worry about this particular section right now. Just want to give you an idea that this website does give us a lot of options, and I encourage you to test it out at your leisure. You can bulk look up IP addresses, see what IP address information is obtained, email extraction. You can extract emails from a text file. It will search the text file and find email addresses. We've got, again, a lot of options here. And I encourage you, again, to test this website out and use it to figure out what options are available, what vulnerabilities are available, what ports are open, and give you quite a bit of data. Now, another website for footprinting I wanted to show you is called robtext.com. So let's go to robtext.com right now, and I'll explain to you how this all works. This is robtext.com. If I scroll down, you will see this site has changed a little bit. It looks like this is a new version of the site. So let's go back to this host name IP number box and let's type in cnn.com and let's see what information it gives us. So cnn.com, and let's go scrolling to the bottom. It will tell us all these similar websites. So it shows you cnn.com. It also shows you other name variations like cnncom.com. This could be useful in an attempt, for example, if you are going to register a very similar domain name as close to cnn.com. This gives you an idea of what's available, what's not available, so you can determine which website to register. And there are some other reasons why you would want that. Once I go into cnn.com, it tells me that it has 2 IP addresses. If I scroll down, it will tell me when this was modified last, when it was last checked. It tells us the IP addresses, which we had found with the command line interface anyway. It tells us the name server information as well. As we can see, it's ns1.timewarner.net. So this is a Time Warner linked website. It tells us mail servers, which we had found earlier as well. It also shows me more information about name servers. Also, it tells me something interesting here. I'll talk about the graph in a second, or the map actually. There are 50 domains that are on ns1.timewarner.net. So it tells us that there are about 50 domain names here, which is quite useful, especially when you're trying to map out an organization or map out a network. This gives you a good grasp of what's available. It tells us also that all these IP addresses point to an IP group 1, a mail server group 1, name server, and this is the diagrammatic representation of what it's been able to find for us. As you can see, it starts off with cnn.com, and all these are the name servers sitting on there with the A record IP addresses. It tells us that where it's pointing to, it shows us some broadcast servers as well. And as you can see, this is very, very useful, especially for mapping out a network. It's showing us the DNS records, some more information about the website, some reverse records as well. As you can see, very, very useful information that we could then use later on. If I go to forward, let's have a look at what's in forward. As you can see, more DNS record information. Under graph, you will see that graph again, or the diagram representation of the website that it's found for us. So we can use this in our footprinting exercise that we can use later on for exploits, etc. In this video, I want to introduce you to a tool that is fantastic for enumerating. That tool is called listurls.py, and let's get the appropriate usage of this particular tool. I need to put in ./listurls.py, and I need to put a web page link. So let's use amazon.com as the web page, amazon.com, and let us see the results. Okay, I need to put the HTTP tag prior to the web page. Now let's see what information it gives us. Make sure you always include the HTTP before the web page. Now, as this finds URLs, it will extract the URLs from the page. As you can see here, these domain names that are on the page, it finds subdomains. It gives us quite a bit of information of what is available, other pages on this particular website. So you get a good idea, a good map of the website that you want to target. So again, you'll see Amazon websites here. It gives you an idea of how they've set this up, and you've been able to use a simple tool to extract this information. In the next video, I will introduce you to another tool called Harvester and show you how we use Harvester to get even more information. So as you can see, this is just the footprinting exercise giving us a map of this particular website, in this case, Amazon.com. Let's use the Harvester on Lenovo.com and let's see what results it gives us. So it's searching Google right now, and let's see if it does give us the results that we like. As you will see here, it's found some email addresses, which we can later use for exploit attacks. We could use it for phishing attempts, for spamming attempts, a number of different options available with email addresses, which we'll cover later. But as you can see, it's found a few email addresses. It's found particular web links as well. And while it's searching Google, it's found IP addresses for us, different host information, and again, very simply obtaining information from Google that is available, but this tool basically goes in and pulls all this information so we can use it at a later stage for an attack.